Istanbul, Turkey's biggest city, may be multicultural in name, but members of its non-Turkish minorities say they are not considered citizens in full standing. In a national population of 70 million, for example, the some 20 million Kurds and 2 million Roma are not even officially counted as minorities. Since 2005, urban renewal plans for the Sulukule district of central Istanbul have threatened the 3,000 Roma here with eviction from their neighborhood to an area 40 kilometers outside the city limits. A European Parliament member with the Green Party agrees with the planners that something must be done, but he warns against committing the same errors committed in various parts of Europe.
What I'm afraid of when I listen to the people of Sulukule and also to the mayor is that Sulukule and the Fatih authorities are making the same mistake as, for instance, the authorities in my country, in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam and in Rotterdam did in the 70s. That is, if they want to renew a neighborhood, they totally destroy it, they build new buildings for the people can't live there, so they also destroy the social fabric.
The local Solidarity Association says the rent on the proposed replacement housing would be more than most of the residents could ever dream of paying. A recent town hall study found 3/4 of them have no job, 1/3 of them can't read, and 1/3 have no more than primary school education. They're on prime development land, since their forefathers settled here 1,000 years ago. The city grew around them. The local mayor has invited the press and the Solidarity Association to discuss the problems. The Roma are socially marginalized, not only in Turkey, but also in many EU countries. Turkey officially recognizes 3 minorities, the Greeks, the Jews, and the some 50,000 Armenians. Their position is particularly strained over Ankara's refusal to acknowledge the 1915 Armenian massacre, although the government has taken steps to restitute churches and other confiscated property. Ten years ago, Belgium asked the Turkish government to recognize as a historical reality the Ottoman Empire's actions in 1915. 1 million Armenians are dispersed throughout Europe, half in France. 10,000 Armenians live in Belgium. The Euro-Armenian Federation for Justice and Democracy is based in Brussels. Its executive director says Armenians in Turkey are far from enjoying equal status before the law.
They suffer in the same way as all the citizens of Turkey do from its lack of democracy. But not only that, their social and cultural rights as a minority are severely curtailed. For example, buildings which belong to the Armenian community were expropriated with no legal process. Armenian schools are obliged to have a Turkish adjunct principal who has more power than the director, who really holds the reins. It's a community under surveillance.
The late journalist Hrant Dink ran a bilingual Turkish-Armenian newspaper in Istanbul called Argos. Promoting democracy, he wrote about the Armenian identity. This got him prosecuted under Article 301 of the Penal Code, which makes it a crime to insult Turkish identity. He appealed a conviction carrying a 6-month suspended prison sentence, turning to the European Court of Human Rights. But before the case was taken up, he was murdered a year ago by an ultranationalist outside his office. Responding to criticism about 301, Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan himself has acknowledged it as among the reforms needed if Turkey is to continue to build towards membership in the EU. 301 came into effect in 2005, preceding the opening of the accession negotiations. A key representative in Brussels speaks frankly about it.
It's an anachronical law formulated in the logic of the Cold War, and it is really ridiculous for that law to be in place now. Turkey already adopted several laws. This is why the European Commission already qualified Turkey as a country fulfilling sufficiently European Union's democratic criteria. But there are some deficits. Some parts of the law should be enhanced, and also we need a better implementation for some other parts. It will take time, but not too long, because Turkey is now in the process of EU membership. We have a society committed to that target, and we know that as long as Turkey will not fulfill completely this democratic criteria of the European Union, there will be no membership.
Turkish journalist Doğan Özgüren has also fallen afoul of Article 301 for criticizing Turkey's powerful military. He's lived in Belgium since 1971. He's the chief editor of InfoTurk. He also runs the Atelier du Soleil, where women can take language courses and children get help with schoolwork and do art workshops.
The constitution in force in Turkey is a militarist constitution which was imposed after the coup d'etat in 1980. It is therefore clearly based on a Kemalist, ultranationalist ideology. Furthermore, it denies the people many fundamental rights, whether from ethnic or religious minorities. That is why we've always demanded a modification of this constitution in its entirety.
Urged on by the European Union, the Turkish government foresees spring of 2009 for delivery of a new constitution. Europe hopes the text will treat minorities properly. Turkey's 20 million Kurds represent more than a quarter of the population, yet even with a pro-Kurdish political party, they're not allowed to speak their own language or have their own private schools. Pressure from Brussels has helped. For a couple of years, 2 private television stations and 1 radio station have been authorized to broadcast some programs in Kurdish. The head of the Kurdish Institute in Brussels would welcome more firmness from Europe.
Turkey must accept European rules and standards. It's not up to Europe to accept Ankara's laws. Turkey expects to get a custom-tailored membership in the EU, and that has to be stopped. As long as Europe behaves hypocritically in this matter, it'll remain unacceptable to the Kurds. If Europe admits Turkey into the Union, it will also be letting in the war which is going on inside Turkey.
Dan brengt de Europese Unie de oorlog dat in Turkije is in Europa zelf.
The European Parliament's Socialist, Liberal and Green groups have invited Kurds and Turks to sit down at the same table at the beginning of March to discuss the place of minorities in the new constitution. The Assembly's biggest group, the Conservative EPP, is not involved.